In 1912, deep in the baking Bahariya oasis of Egypt, a German paleontologist named Ernst Stromer was having the field season of his life. He was pulling massive bones from the Cretaceous sandstone that had been buried for about 95 million years. And what he found didn't make sense. A dinosaur skull, elongated like a crocodile. Vertebrae with impossibly tall spines jutting from the back, some over 5 feet long. And claws, massive, curved claws that looked nothing like a typical predator's weapons. At first, Stromer did what any reasonable paleontologist would do when confronted with bizarre fossils. He tried to fit them into what was known. Maybe it was an unusual theropod. Maybe the spines were some kind of display structure. But the more he studied, the less it fit. The proportions were all wrong. The teeth were conical, not blade-like. The arms were enormous, and those spines, those ridiculous, towering spines, suggested something that had never been seen before. Then came the name, Spinosaurus aegypticus, spine lizard from Egypt. See, Stromer knew he'd found something extraordinary, but he had no idea just how strange this animal would turn out to be. Because over the next century, as more fossils emerged and technology advanced, Spinosaurus would rewrite everything we thought we knew about large predatory dinosaurs. And in the process, it would become one of the most controversial, most debated, and most shocking discoveries in all of paleontology. What emerged was a portrait of an animal so bizarre that it instantly shattered every assumption about how apex predators were supposed to look and behave. News hit like a thunderclap. When modern researchers first analyzed the complete skeletal structure, they ran the numbers again and again, convinced the reconstruction had to be wrong. But it wasn't. The measurements pointed to a dinosaur that didn't belong on land at all. Researchers were stunned. If those numbers were real, Spinosaurus wasn't just an unusual theropod, it was the largest predator of the Cretaceous, and it lived in the water. Its adaptations implied an ecological niche far stranger, far more specialized, and far more alien than scientists had imagined. A creature this unusual could only exist by breaking every rule. What kind of evolutionary pressure creates monsters like this? Spinosaurus was monstrously large. The most conservative estimates put it at about 46 feet long. But some estimates go as high as 50 to 59 feet, and it weighed somewhere between 7 and 9 tons. For context, Tyrannosaurus rex, the poster child of dinosaur predators, maxed out at about 40 feet long and weighed around 9 tons, so Spinosaurus was potentially longer, though comparable in weight. But here's what I find fascinating. How do scientists even figure out the size and lifestyle of an extinct animal when the original fossils were destroyed in World War II? Well, modern paleontology relies on fragments, rediscoveries, and comparative anatomy. After Stromer's original specimens were lost in the bombing of Munich in 1944, Spinosaurus became almost mythical. For decades, all we had were Stromer's drawings and measurements. But starting in the 1990s, new fossils began emerging from North Africa. A snout here, vertebrae there, jaw fragments. Slowly, piece by piece, the puzzle came back together. And with modern CT scanning, 3D modeling, and biomechanical analysis, scientists could finally reconstruct what this animal actually looked like. But there's a deeper question here. Why was Spinosaurus so different from every other large theropod? The answer hinges on water. See, most large carnivorous dinosaurs were built for land. They had powerful legs, balanced bodies, and bone structures optimized for running and biting. But Spinosaurus was built for swimming, and that changes everything. To understand Spinosaurus, you have to understand its world. Step back about 95 million years into the mid-Cretaceous period, right in the middle of the age of dinosaurs. Earth is hot, seas are high, and North Africa is covered in a vast river system that looks nothing like the Sahara Desert we know today. Global sea levels were far higher than today. What is now barren sand was once a lush, tropical river delta teeming with life. Estimates suggest average temperatures in the region were around 35 degrees Celsius, with humidity levels through the roof. Imagine a world where crocodiles the size of buses patrol the waterways, where sawfish longer than cars cruise the currents, and where massive coelacanths and lungfish fill every ecological niche. No dry seasons, no droughts, just endless flowing water stretching from coast to coast. Rivers carved through dense forests, creating labyrinthine channels and lagoons. And life grew large, because for an animal willing to exploit an untapped niche, water provided everything. But here's the thing, no large theropod had ever specialized for aquatic life before. Dinosaurs ruled the land. Marine reptiles like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs ruled the oceans. But the rivers were waiting, and Spinosaurus evolved to fill that gap. Its body became longer, sleeker, more crocodile-like. Its tail flattened into a massive paddle capable of generating thrust underwater. Its nostrils shifted higher on its skull, allowing it to breathe while mostly submerged. And those spines, that ridiculous sail, still debated, but possibly used for display, thermoregulation, or even stability while swimming. The fossil sites reveal this world in stunning detail. Layer after layer contains fish fossils, massive sawfish rostra with teeth like swords, crocodilian relatives with crushing jaws. There are lungfish burrows suggesting seasonal flooding, turtle shells, pterosaur bones. This was not a quiet backwater. It was a violent, competitive ecosystem where every predator was fighting for the same resource, fish, lots and lots of fish. In such an environment, specialization was key, and Spinosaurus became the most specialized of all. Its conical teeth were perfect for gripping slippery prey. Its long snout reduced water resistance. Its powerful arms, tipped with massive claws, could hook and pin struggling fish. Spinosaurus in this context is not an accident. It is a direct, logical outcome of an extreme world. High fish abundance, deep waterways, and fierce competition pushing evolution to its limit. So here's the question everyone wants to know. How did Spinosaurus actually hunt? Well, forget everything you think you know about theropod predators. Spinosaurus wasn't some roaring tyrant chasing down hadrosaurs on land. This wasn't a pursuit predator or an ambush hunter in the traditional sense. Spinosaurus was simply too specialized for that. 50 feet of semi-aquatic muscle doesn't sprint across floodplains. It sinks, it swims, it glides through water like a living submarine. In the Cretaceous river systems, Spinosaurus behaved less like a dinosaur and more like a grizzly bear or a heron, but supersized. Wading through shallow water, snout low, scanning for movement, it used the river's murky currents as cover, slipping between sandbars and submerged logs with only its sail breaking the surface. For an animal this size, invisibility wasn't necessary. Intimidation was enough. It didn't chase in the traditional sense. It waded, it swept, it struck with precision. Biomechanical models suggest that Spinosaurus had incredible neck strength, capable of whipping its head sideways to snag fish in an instant. Modern crocodiles use a similar technique, and Spinosaurus had the anatomy to match. Those conical teeth weren't designed to tear flesh, they were designed to grip. Once it locked onto a fish, that fish wasn't escaping. And with forearms as long and powerful as Spinosaurus possessed, it could rake through the water, hooking prey like a bear swiping at salmon. Based on the ecosystem we know existed in North Africa, Spinosaurus's diet likely included large coelacanths and lungfish, abundant and slow-moving, packed with calories. Sawfish, dangerous but worth the effort if you had the size advantage. Smaller crocodiles, competitors that needed to be kept in check. Possibly juvenile dinosaurs that wandered too close to the water's edge, though this was likely opportunistic rather than the norm. Water wasn't just its hunting ground, it was its entire identity. The density of water supported its massive, elongated frame. Without it, Spinosaurus would have been awkward, ungainly, vulnerable. Its center of mass was shifted forward, unlike the balanced build of other theropods. On land, it likely walked on all fours for stability, using those enormous arms to support its weight. But in water, everything clicked. Its paddle-like tail propelled it forward. Its dense bones, revealed by bone structure analysis, gave it negative buoyancy, allowing it to stay submerged. And its crocodile-like skull could strike with surgical precision. So when you imagine Spinosaurus, don't picture it battling T-Rex in some desert wasteland. Picture it gliding through a sun-dappled river, sail cutting through the surface, eyes locked on prey below. So if Spinosaurus was such a successful predator, perfectly adapted to its environment, why isn't it still around? Well, the answer is both simple and brutal. The world changed, and Spinosaurus was too specialized to adapt. Around 93 million years ago, the Cretaceous world entered a period of massive environmental upheaval. Sea levels began to fluctuate wildly. The vast river systems of North Africa started to dry out, shrinking into isolated pools and seasonal streams. And for a giant obligate fish eater like Spinosaurus, that was catastrophic. Here's the thing about specialization. When your entire body, your entire lifestyle is optimized for one specific environment, you become a prisoner of that environment. When the rivers thrived, Spinosaurus thrived. But when the rivers began to vanish, Spinosaurus had nowhere to go. It couldn't suddenly adapt to hunting on land. Its body wasn't built for it. It couldn't migrate to the oceans. Marine reptiles already dominated those waters. And it couldn't shrink down to survive on smaller prey. Animals that large have minimum caloric requirements that can't be ignored. Essentially, Spinosaurus was trapped, and as the fish populations collapsed, so did the predators that depended on them. But it wasn't just the environment. Competition was intensifying. Other large theropods like Carcharodontosaurus shared the same regions, and as resources became scarce, these land-based predators had the advantage. They were more versatile, more mobile, more capable of exploiting different food sources. Meanwhile, Spinosaurus remained locked into its aquatic niche, unable to pivot. And perhaps most importantly, the entire ecosystem was destabilizing. The fish it preyed on were dying out, the river systems were fragmenting, the climate was shifting, and Spinosaurus, for all its size and power, couldn't evolve fast enough to keep up. Spinosaurus didn't die from predation, it didn't die from disease, it didn't die from competition, not directly. It died because it was too good at one thing, and when that one thing disappeared, so did it. That's all it took. A shift in water levels, a change in climate, and the strangest predator that ever lived simply stopped existing. And that should make us think, because evolution doesn't reward perfection, it rewards flexibility. And sometimes being too specialized is the most dangerous adaptation of all. Spinosaurus was a creature that should never have existed. It was too strange, too specialized, too dependent on a world that was always destined to change. But for a brief moment in Earth's history, all the conditions aligned perfectly, and for millions of years, the most bizarre predator that ever lived ruled the rivers of ancient North Africa. And then, just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished, leaving behind only fragments and questions. See, asking for support always feels a little awkward, so I will keep this brief. Creating these videos is a labor of love. That's why I want to push the boundaries of what this channel can be. Richer visuals, deeper research, and stories that truly spark wonder. But quality takes time, and it is hard to do this alone. That is why I am launching channel memberships. By becoming a member, you aren't just donating, you are buying me the time to craft bigger, better films. So if you believe in this mission and want to help me keep exploring the unknown, please consider clicking the join button. I literally exist because of you. Thank you. And until next time, you can watch this video here. I think you'll love it.